Okay, hi guys. I am here with the greatest bench presser in history, the one and only Julius Maddox. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Right, I've got a number of questions, but I think the first topic to start on would be bench press.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
good idea. So, you're here in Moscow, Russia. You're going to compete tomorrow. As I understand, this is going to be your last competition before you then attempt the...
Yeah, so I'm not going to necessarily say the last, but I'm using this to get back in the groove of competing.
Okay.
It's been 2 years post-injury, and I just want to do an event to kind of get that fire lit to get ready for the next 4 months.
Okay, so back in comp mode, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a fixed date when you will?
No, so typically training goes, we get a good solid 9 weeks of training in, and then we start to kind of figure out which direction we're going to go, and we can kind of project how many weeks out we are from competition.
Okay. And tomorrow, have you got a number in mind that you're going to hit?
Personally, I want to hit over 700.
Okay.
So I'm going to start out with 660.
Right.
So I'm going to start out with, I think, 300 kilograms, and I want to end with 320, 325.
Okay. I guess also because you haven't done so much traveling before, you've got to get used to how that affects the body because it does have a big impact, especially on you big guys, yeah?
Yeah. I kind of felt myself kind of dozing off last interview. I'm running off 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But yes, I've always been the guy that can show up, and I always prided myself because I show up no matter the conditions and I compete no matter what. And that's what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, just to let you guys know, now it's like 11 p.m. at night. It was so crazy busy today at the Sarachev Para Festival that we're doing this here now because it's the only chance without Julius being crowded by the fans. How have you found it so far in Moscow here?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Moscow, I mean, I've been, this is, like I said, this is my first time, not first time, but first few times this year able to travel abroad because of my past. And, coming here, I didn't know what to think. I knew that Carell wouldn't steer me in the wrong direction. I wasn't scared. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And coming here superseded my expectations by far.
Yeah, it's one of those places, myself coming from England, you hear all these things and then you come here and it's like, wow, this isn't what they told us.
It just blows my mind because I feel like social media and news outlets portray like Russia is this evil place and people like live in dungeons and roam the streets with like swords trying to kill people and guns, and I'm like, it's totally opposite.
Yeah.
I would feel safe bringing my family here. Take this vaguely, but I would say I feel safer here than I would feel in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I'm coming from England and I've lived in America. I've lived in various countries. I've found this the safest place to live.
And I say that because I've literally been in places where people have tried to pick fights just because how big I am, And I'm not saying that I was some badass, but I took care of myself very well. And that's scary to me because my strength nowadays is unmatched, and I don't know my capabilities and how how I would react in a situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you're the one that ends up getting in trouble.
Yes.
For something someone else started.
There's a lot of humbleness in swallowing pride, where I have to walk away or allow people to kind of treat me sometimes a certain way because, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you don't hurt me, my kids, or put your hands on me, I'm fine. But there's been many times I had to swallow my pride and just walk away.
I imagine. Having said that, there's some big guys around here. Kirill himself. You met Smaev today as well.
Man, listen, Smaev, that guy is one of the largest built guys I've ever seen. I can't explain how big this guy is. His hand was like this. I ate a 2 kilogram steak the other day, and it reminded me of how thick his hand was. I mean, literally that thick. You know, I'm like, is it in the water? Send me some of the water home.
You
So
know,
I can get that flowing in my blood.
when the videos of him started popping up 3 years ago, I went to where he lives.
Yeah.
And we
really?
we did a video together because everyone wanted to know if he was real and if he was genuine. And there he was doing, one-arm pull-ups. Like you say, he's got bare paws on it. It's like, Jesus, who is this guy?
I believe he could kill a bear with his bare hands. I believe he could wrestle a lion with his bare hands. I do believe it.
I think he could go a pretty long way in bench press if he really committed to it as well. He's
Oh,
already a
1,000%.
huge lifter, yeah.
1,000%.
Unusual person.
Yeah, he's different.
Let's get into that about you also. Anyone that gets to the level you have in bench press, it's always a combination of genetics and hard work. It has to be.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
In your case, are you a guy that had the perfect genetics for bench press and found the sport, or do you believe that there's other people out there, perhaps with even better, but they didn't find it, and you have found a way to work harder and better than anyone else ever has before?
I'd say a little bit of everything. Genetics. I've always been a big kid. I've always been strong. I just didn't have the guidance. So multiple avenues have led to this point to where I'm at today. But for the most part, training-wise, I train safe. If I feel like I'm coming up on an injury, like something's not well, I learn to back off. I've learned to know my body. I've learned to have reserve and cut back when 99% of the rest of the people are always pushing to the max. I've learned to take the small steps, the small leaps, the small victories that has gotten me to where I'm at today. But I get emotional thinking about this. There was many times when my daughter would say, "Daddy, when are you gonna be number one?" And just hearing that in my mind is something that you can't grow that, you can't buy that, you can't conjure that. That's just a gift. And when it comes to competition, that runs through my mind. It's a fuel that a never-ending fuel. Just put it that way. Does that make sense?
Of course it does, yeah.
So my kids are my biggest motivators in me being who I need to be.
Yeah. Well, what better motivation, yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's an interesting question. I always ask professional sportsmen about psychology, mindset. They're your kind of great motivation. In terms of that moment when you're attempting a world record bench press, obviously it's incredible, extreme physical pressure, mental pressure. It's very dangerous. It has all these elements, and it's what you've been building up to. What's going through your head when you lie down on that bench? Are you very psyched up? Are you calm? Are you thinking always of one particular thing?
I'm not calm. There's a billion things going on in my head. My past, what I've overcome, gratitude. These are all things that are just cycling in my mind. Just the fact that I get to be somebody, just the fact that I got a second chance at life. I remember a time being in a jail cell and not having a future, not having any hope, very, very dark. And the fact that now I'm on a platform inspiring millions across the world, I do it for the people, you know? I get emotional thinking about it. It's a blessing. It's a huge blessing. So yes, it's multiple things that run through my mind. And you know what? Whenever they say Julius Maddox is up, everything goes silent.
Yeah.
It's like it's a switch, and I feel like I could run through a wall.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. I can't explain it. I can't describe it. It just when I hear my name register and that I'm up, it's game time.
For you, is there a ceiling on what you believe is possible that you can lift, or a number where you would be happy to walk away from this sport?
I mean, really, we can always keep pushing the envelope. You never know what's going to happen until you try. 800 is my walk away.
Okay.
So as soon as I crack 800, I'm going to, I want to do overhead pressing. Going to a little strongman a little bit, just to see where it goes. I never want to stop competing. I never want to stop. It's something that keeps us going, keeps inspiring the world. But yes, 800, and then I want to lose a little bit of weight and kind of head into a little bit of strongman.
Okay, well, we'll very soon get to strongman and arm wrestling because a lot of people who watch my channel are interested in that. Just before we get to that, in terms of bench press, just everybody that ever has gone into a gym and lifting weights does bench press or has done it at some point. Are there any key things that you see that you think, obviously, like very commonly people either do wrong or that they should do more of that would help them?
Oh, it's two things: programming or coaching, which are two and the same. Programming, coaching, and utilizing overload training as your main base of training.
Okay.
So people using elbow wraps as their main premise of bench press. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's starting to become a big thing nowadays, and is causing a lot of injuries for athletes because, again, they're creating a superficial joint. They're creating an environment for them to eventually have injuries.
So they're chasing the big numbers before their body's actually ready. To get there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so yeah, you mentioned overhead. Now, if we talk about strongman right now, Ian Bibby has the log world record. In strongman we have log and axle are the main overheads. Which of those are you?
Axle.
Axle. Okay. So the axle's an interesting one. I mean, we've had Big Z, Thor when he was at his peak. Actually, right now we've got Lucas Hatton. I don't know if you know Lucas. Yeah, coming through, and I believe he will be the next guy.
What's he at right now?
I'm not sure.
Sub fives.
Yeah, but he's showing his gym lifts, but no one's put on yet an attempt for him because he's just broken through this year into the pro ranks. But he, I'm sure, is going to challenge that record. Have you done much actual training yet or not? No?
I'm just confident.
Okay.
I know my pressing abilities. Oh, I'm built for it.
Yeah, you certainly are. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant. I just know that this is my calling, is to inspire the world, and I'm just a presser. That's what I do.
There's very few people that come into strongman that just do a single lift. I mean, Larry Wheels did a kind of cameo where he came in and did just log press. But is that what you want to do, or do you want to do all of strongman?
Well, I want to kind of get introduced to the sport with doing that.
Okay.
And then slowly start to work on, doing my, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, but because of, my status in bench press and what I've done and contributed, that basically gave me the golden ticket to be able to skip a lot of the process. Yeah. But I want to do it right.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in working for what you want and not getting special treatment to an extent.
Yeah, but I know the strongman community, and anything that helps grow our sport, people that bring more eyes to it are welcome in it. And if there's someone like you that everyone is thinking, Julius may be able to come in and do something special, everyone will welcome you in to do that for sure, even if it skips you ahead of a few people. It'd certainly be interesting. Do you actually have any kind of number in your head that you believe you go to in an axle yet?
600.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I've inclined. I mean, I've overhead pressed with a barbell, 535 for 2.
Okay.
That's seated overhead press.
Yeah.
I know when my wheels are spinning and those gears are turning, I'm an unstoppable force. I just know that when I'm in my environment and I'm being consistent, that nothing can stop me. So and again, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or cocky.
Self-belief.
I'm so grateful for a second chance in life and being able to do stuff like this.
Yeah. And if we switch to another sport, which people are always talking about, arm wrestling, which is growing and growing. Yeah. Again, you have the kind of build. If we could look at someone like Levan, who's current champion, Have you done any arm wrestling with any of the elite guys? Have you had a play with it?
No. Again, being, in competition for bench press or just, trying to be safe.
Yeah, it's
My
a
coach will not allow me
surefire way to mess up your elbows.
because that's something that's something that you want to slowly progress for years.
Yeah.
You don't want to just jump in. You got to build up that. Again, I talked in the interview earlier about building up that bone density, building up the tendons, and that takes years.
Yeah, it really does.
And that's the difference between me and 99% of the other people is they want to jump right in and go straight to it.
Right. Yeah.
But I know how the body reacts to certain loads and how those weaknesses can cause career-ending injuries.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like strongman axle overhead is the way you want to go, as opposed to perhaps equipped benching or anything like that.
No. I don't knock anybody that does equipped, but you know what? Jumping off of a trampoline, dunking a basketball off of a trampoline is cool. It's cool. You can dunk a basketball, but for the most part, somebody told me if you can't do it raw, then don't do it at all. And again, I'm not knocking those of you who are equipped. I like to, me and a couple of my buddies that are equipped lifters, we like to give each other a hard time. But
It's not for you. Yeah, well, I think that's fair enough. Well, I think that's covered a few of the main points. I think it's time for you to get some rest as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll leave it at that. We really appreciate your time. We're going to wish you all the best tomorrow, but also to break your own world record. And then when you come across the strongman, I'll see you there. And
Awesome.
Perhaps at the Siberian Power Show.
Let's do it. Let's get it.
Okay, man. Good to see you.
Pleasure. Good to